And it's still viewed in many circles almost like an awkward little sister to EMDR therapy. But Flash is growing up. It's developing its own voice. It's developing an identity all of its own. And it's starting to teach us clearly and articulately about one way that humans can rescue the self from the past. So originally, Flash was viewed as a way to simply remove heat from memories. It was viewed primarily as a resource in order to kind of do EMDR more effectively, almost as a way to salvage the unsteady marriage of EMDR and complex trauma. And of course, other interventions, other ways of thinking the last 3 decades have also tried to kind of stem or try to step into the rockiness of this uneven EMDR complex trauma relationship. So in short, Flash was viewed as helpful but not necessarily transformative. And it's still not widely viewed as an approach to psychotherapy. If Flash does what I'm claiming it does, and the claims that I'm making are not exceptional, I think Phil Manfield and Ricky Greenwald and other Flash trainers would agree that this is what it does. If Flash does what I'm claiming that it does, though, it has to become an approach to psychotherapy. It simply has to. If this is a way that humans can fully and adaptively heal, this can't simply be a technique. So we've learned a lot about how to do Flash well since it was developed 6 years ago. And I think a lot of the reason early on that Flash would kind of take heat out of memories but wouldn't fully resolve them may have come largely from the fact that we didn't know how to do Flash well. And it's no longer controversial among those who've done a lot of Flash well to say that Flash fully resolves memories and resolves those memories using every metric that we would consider a memory resolved in Flash or any other transformational psychotherapy. You don't need to believe this right now, but what I'm doing is I'm introducing this idea that Flash resolves memories and resolves them using every metric that we would consider that memory resolved in EMDR or any other transformational psychotherapy. Flash resolves memories to zero distress. There is a positive belief about the self and the world that the client will believe right now related to that memory. We didn't know that because nobody got around to ask. Ask your clients when the SUDS goes to zero if there's not something they believe more positively about themselves. They're going to tell you. And yes, memories resolved in Flash generalize. Probably not as much as generalization happens in EMDR, but memories in Flash do generalize. And it's no longer controversial to claim that Flash simply reprocesses memories. Now, what I don't mean to say is that how you get there and the journey that you take there doesn't matter. It does matter. So Flash is like getting on an airplane at Cleveland Hopkins International Airport and flying to San Francisco. When you arrive in San Francisco, you will be in your body in San Francisco. If you get in Cleveland, if from Cleveland you get in a car and you drive to San Francisco, when you're in San Francisco, you will be in your body in San Francisco. What I am not saying is that you're going to learn the same things when you fly as when you do when you drive. No, you're going to learn a lot more about yourself and the world depending on how you take the trip. But sometimes clients simply need to heal. And it is only great news that we can simply put most of our clients on a plane and get them there related to healing specific individual memories. So, not just related to the kind of core Shapiro metrics, zero distress, more adaptive thoughts, and a clear body scan. Memories processed in Flash behave the same way they do using a lot of other informal metrics. So for those of you that are EMDR therapists, this is going to sound familiar. Okay, the memory, once you've resolved it in Flash, will start to feel more like it happened when it did. It will get inserted into the timeline and behave the way a memory from that developmental era behaves. The client and every single part of the client system, and it's very important that, that the 4Blinks version of Flash is parts centric. Every single thing we do is governed by an understanding of parts. But every single part will report that that memory fills over. Intrusive symptoms stop, and the reprocessed memory does tend to generalize. And a lot of our many associated memories in that closely tied network will lose a lot of their distress. And that resolved memory becomes more adaptive information about the self and the world. So if you're an EMDR therapist, you may be under the impression that EMDR is what shifts cognitions. And it does, because it is a transformational psychotherapy. But what shifts cognitions and is resolving memories, right? Healing transforms trauma, and healing causes shifts in cognitions. So if cognitions haven't shifted pretty dramatically, healing isn't complete. That's what healing means. The same thing for generalization. Healing causes memories to generalize, not just EMDR. Shapiro got an up-close view of healing. Now you will also, but from another angle, when you have Flash on your tool bench, sitting right there with EMDR or whatever else you do that will let you reliably, predictably process trauma. So Flash reprocesses memory by every metric that we would consider a memory reprocessed in any of the transformational trauma therapies. That is good news.